Hi, everyone. It's wonderful to be with you, Adrian Groenewald, Me Vision Academy. And again, what a privilege to hand a Successful Leader Award to a very special leader that I've been tracking. We've been tracking for many years, actually, John Foster-Pedley, who is the Dean and Director of Henley Business School Africa, nominated by Leon Steyn, who's associated with him also over the years. And I certainly endorse that. So it's fantastic to have you with us. John, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Adrian. It's wonderful that somebody should be kind enough to do that, and wonderful that I should be able to speak to you about it, because, to be honest, you have done so much work for leadership in South Africa that I do honestly feel you should be the one getting the awards. But anyway, not someone like me, but kind of you anyway.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
That's enough for me. You saying that is just more than enough for me. So I'm going to give you the formal award, and then we'll go and I'll ask you the key question after that. All right, this is the exclusive recognition of successful leadership awarded to John Foster-Pedley. John, at least for these elements, but there's no doubt much more, consistently leading self and others successfully, and even before your Henley days, but more particularly those successes you've had there. Successfully leading as Dean and Director of Henley Business School Africa, its growth and transformation over 12 years plus. Then successfully influencing broader society. You are just like that. You don't just build Henley. You always have your eye on a bigger picture, and serving in various capacities with energy and passion. And then something that's close to our heart, and no doubt to your school as well, is your commitment to mentoring, inspiring future successful leaders. And it's an honor for me to sign on behalf of Me Vision Academy, a journey to best self. So, John, just formally then, congratulations, and thank you for accepting.
Thank you very much. And I accept willingly on behalf, really, of all the team at Henley, who've done so much. They've done so much work. And all the partners we work with have influenced us so much. And it's a privilege to be able to try and do something, even in our very limited way, to try and change the dynamics in South Africa and produce opportunity and hope and positivity for a country I wasn't born in, but I deeply believe in.
Yeah, no, we see that, we know it, we've experienced it. So what is the essence of successful leadership that you've learned over the years?
It's very interesting. I came from a military family. My father was a war hero, and I went to military academy, and I was brought up in that sort of mold. But the one thing that's incredibly important, I think, for leadership is to be fair. And fairness has all sorts of elements. And that means you have to distance yourself from your own preferences and prejudices and think, how does this, if I was making a decision for this one person, would it be fair if I made that decision for somebody else as well? And the corollary of that is that you obviously cannot seek popularity. Not that one should seek unpopularity, but if you're going to make decisions which are fair, you are obviously not going to be pleasing everybody. And I think you have to take that on board, because your duty is to provide fair opportunity and a level playing field for everybody, so everybody gets a decent chance. And obviously with kindness as well as one can. And also understand that you're mostly, as a leader, making decisions for a broader system, not the one person in front of you. And you've got to think that way, for a society, for an organization, for a company. And so that sense of integrity, which you have to police in yourself, and not a sense of self-congratulations. I think it's uncomfortable to be a leader very often, but you've got a duty to do, and you're trying to make things possible for everybody. And leadership positions are temporary. You come, you have them, and you leave them. And you leave it behind, you are still you. So just try and be as fair as you can to everybody, and try and work on that.
John, thank you for that. When you say fair, I guess some leaders just try and make decisions that are across the board. It makes it easy. You don't have to weigh it up and try and establish what's fair and what's not fair. I mean, it takes a lot of emotional maturity and strength to actually take every situation on its merit and to be fair to this person in a different way than you might be to another. I don't know if I'm making sense, but there you are. It's a deep principle, and it's not easy to apply.
Well, I think you can separate yourself from the decision in front of you by saying, I'm going to make a decision on principle, and that's it. And I don't think that's true fairness, because I think fairness has an element of perceived fairness. And quite often it can seem unfair to somebody what you're deciding, because they think, well, this is me and I've got this particular need. But actually, you might have 100 people with similar situations. Why would you give preference to this one? You have to make a policy that suits everybody. So a sense of fairness requires a sense of self-reflection as well. It's not separate from empathy. I think there's two forms of empathy. There's the person who comes to you and says, wow, I need to take next week off, please. I've got to, I've got friends coming over from wherever. And they say, you must let me, I've been working hard. And you feel very, very empathetic with that person, say, yeah, of course I can. But then you realize there's a big work schedule coming up. There's 50, 60 people depending on that. They also have put off things they would like to do to be there at that one time. And you can't let that one person for whom you're feeling great empathy for have the preference, because you might like them. They might be a friend of yours or family, or they've done a thing. You can't make that decision for them. You've got to make the decision in fairness for everybody, so you can make the system work for everybody. And that's what you have to do. And quite often you have to deny your impulse to want to please somebody to make it fair for all those other people who are not present in the room, but for whom you have to support as well. And you have to start developing that in you so you can have integrity and you can be a leader that people will always be able to rely on to make at least a just and fair decision, even if not a popular one.
Yeah, well said. That's an interesting angle. And the bigger picture as a leader, you can't just look at the smaller one. Are we producing quality leaders fast enough for the needs of our society? South Africa and Africa, let's say for now, the world isn't a mess everywhere. We know that. But do you think we're churning them out fast enough,
Well, we have the raw material, and this is a thing I want to, in my belief, these are my opinions, and of course, opinions can be very well wrong, and I'm fully aware of that. But I'll share my opinions for what they're worth, knowing that they may be rebutted by people who see things better or differently from me. But I think we have plenty of raw material for leadership in South Africa. We really do. I think some of the dialogue in leadership is problematic because we say, well, let's pull people out and make them leaders. Well, leaders don't happen like that. Leaders work through youth and they grow, the influences they have. They work through struggling and getting their hands dirty. They might have a small thing they do well and then a slightly bigger thing they do well. They might have to learn to be great managers or project leaders or great followers to begin with. So leadership is an attribute that I don't think you can just say, I want to be a leader, because leader gives you influence and status. I don't think that's what it is at all. Leadership's about service, and I don't mean servant leadership. It's about doing something for the greater good, whether it's an organization, a community, a family, a country, or the world. And if you take on leadership, you probably have to grow into it through a long period of apprenticeship, which doesn't look like leadership. So I think what we don't do enough of is take people through a process where they harden up and they challenge themselves until they can take on bigger and bigger levers, because it's no good giving somebody a lot of money to do something if they haven't learned how to use it. You've got to pull the small levers, then the big levers. And leadership really is pulling very big levers with very big potential impact, plus very big potential for disaster too. So you have to develop discernment. So I think that we don't develop our leaders appropriately. We get too sidetracked by wanting to have immediate power or immediate influence or immediate capability or immediate resources or wealth. Whereas wealth is something you grow up over a long period of time in a society through being competitive first. You attract wealth through competitiveness because you do something better than somebody else. So you teach people to be competitive, to do their job really well, to be accountable, to use money well, to make decisions well, to collective decisions. And then you will find, like Singapore and Korea did, that the society will become more economically prosperous. And then you will find that you're doing something for the greater good. So I think we need to grow leaders and we need to grow our economy. But more than that, with the government of national unity we're facing now, you're looking at people who think very differently and they're sitting in one room. Great leadership is to get them somehow to work collaboratively for the common good, even though they're sacrificing some of the wishes of their constituencies and some of the wishes, and all of us, but something which will be imperfect but is progressive. And so I think we have every possibility to grow leaders. But we have not got the process to do that. Our education needs to be better. We need more people who will share their mistakes and what they've learned. We need more leaders who will say, look, I'm apparently a leader, but I look at myself in the mirror and I wonder why. But, you know, I'm going to keep trying. But these are the things I've learned along the way, and these are the pitfalls I've had. Maybe you can avoid them. And I want you to carry on and try yourself. So great leaders are truism. Great leaders build other leaders. And I think that's exactly what leaders should be doing everything you can to grow the people around you. And then you will probably be given a leadership position out of trust, not because of sharp elbows and greed.
John Foster-Pedley, absolute wisdom. Thank you so much for that. And I look forward to sharing it. And again, congratulations. Well deserved.
Thank you very much. I'm blown over by this, and of course I don't feel I deserve it, but I'm very, very grateful for it, and it'll motivate me and encourage me, inspire me, and obviously feel very humble about it. But thank you very much, Adrian. It's a big deal for me, and it means a lot.